The little cafe was warm, but Tonks hid on the chair as he tried to disappear into the corner. His hair messy, his oversized sweater faded, and his only meal for the day sat in front of him, a bowl of plain soup and a small piece of bread. He ate slowly, savoring each sip, stretching it as long as possible. His sharp eyes wandered around the room, not out of curiosity but survival. He wasn't watching people, he was watching their plate. He prayed that someone might leave half a sandwich, a bite of cake, anything. His pride had thinned as much as his wallet. Just as he took another bite, he felt a presence. A man pulled out a chair across from him and sat down with a kind of confidence only Will could carry. The man was in suit, a expensive wristwatch, and even the smile on his lips looked expensive. Tom froze. He felt uneasy. Why was something like this sitting in front of him? Without saying a word, Tom squirmed in his seat, clutching his bowl and bread with his hand, and started to leave. He was used to being looked down on. He couldn't bear it in again today. But just as he turned, the man's calm voice stopped him. Man, don't go. I'm not here to ask you to leave. Tom was startled for a moment. He just stared, unsure whether to trust his words. Then hesitantly he lowered himself back onto the shore. Thank you, he murmured, keeping his gaze down. He pulled the bowl closer and began eating again, his spoon trembling slightly as he lifted it. The man said nothing more, only watched him quietly. Tell me something. Why are you eating only bread and soup? Thong looked up, spoon hovering in the air. He lowered in slowly embarrassment. Because I don't have much money. His words were quiet, almost surrounded by the cafe's background noise. The man's eyes softened, though his smirk remained. He raised his hand and snapped his finger lightly. Within a second, a waiter appeared in their table, bringing the menu and honey. Tong panicked, clutching the bowl tighter. No, it's fine, really. I'm full already. The man tilted his head, studying him like he had just heard a bad excuse. No, no, you should eat. Bread isn't enough for you. Before Tom could protest again, the waiter had already placed a menu in front of the man. Without even glancing at it, the man ordered confidently a spread of steaming dishes, rich with spices, meat, and flavor that Tom hadn't smelled in months. Benny Pleasant began to arrive, filling the small table with colors and aroma. Tom's stomach betrayed him with a loud growl, his cheeks burned red. Man chuckled. Eat, don't hold back. Tom hesitated, but the food scent was too much. Slowly at first, then the hunger breaking all restraint. He ate. Every bite felt like heaven compared to the plain soup he had been surviving on. The man rested his chin on his hand, watching it with amusement. Bitter, isn't it? Tom pushed, wiping his mouth quickly with a napkin. Yes, thank you for this. Really, I don't even know your name. The man leaned back casually, lips curving into a charming smile. Kai. Just call me Kai. Tong nodded gracefully. I'm Kim Tong. Thank you again for the food, Kashi. Kai's eyes lingered on him, interested. So, Kim Tong, what do you do? Or should I ask, what do you want to do? Tom Sullivan fidgeting with his finger under the table. I want to be an actor, but it's hard. No one takes me seriously. Kai smiled deepened as though he had been waiting for to hear exactly that. Kai tapped his finger lightly on the table, his gaze never leaving Tom. An actor, that explains the size. You have got presence. Even sitting here looking half starving, I can still see it. Tom's lips parted in surprise. Compliment were rare, and coming from someone like Kai, they almost felt dangerous. You really think so? Kai smirked. I don't think, I know. You have potential, and if someone like me sees it, imagine what the industry will do. Tom's heart beat faster. Industry? He read forward curiously, sparking in his eyes. You know people in the industry? Kai Shukla, I am not just someone who knows people. I am the managing director of one of the biggest entertainment companies in Seoul. Tom froze his spoon catering against the plate. You serious? Kai leaning closer, deadly serious. And I can give you exactly what you want. Tom, a lead role, a chance to prove yourself, everything you have been dreaming of. Tom breathed eager and hopeful. I do everything for the chance. Kai's eyes glimmered. He let his silence hang over for a moment before dropping the word like a dagger. Then spend the night with me. The words seemed to stop. Tong blinked, not sure he had heard it right. What? Kai calmly, as if discussing the weather. One night, that's all. You have something I want, and I can give you something you want. Fair trade, isn't it? Tong throat went dry, his phone trembling in his hand, shame, anger, desperation, all of it swirled inside him once. Kai leaned back utterly unbothered and added with a low voice. Think about it. Tomorrow, you could be walking into my company as a star of our next drama, or you could stay here eating bread and soup waiting for leftover. Choice is yours, Tong. Tong stares at him, his heart hammering painfully in his chest. Just then, Tong's phone started ringing. Tong stared down at his phone, his thumb trembling before he answered. Hello, Mom. Mom. Bye. How are you, son? Are you eating well? Do you have enough money? You sound thinner every time you call. Tongue bit lip, glancing at the spread of food. Kai ordered it. For a second, the truth burned on his tongue, but he forced it into a smile. I am doing good, Mom. Eating well. Don't worry. I am taking care of myself. His father's rough voice came next, worn by the years of farm work. Tongo, if things are too hard in the city, come back. You don't need to stop there. We can take care of our child. The farm is big enough. You can help me. It's not acting, but it's the honest life. Tears forming in Tom's eyes. He slowly damped down, gripping his phone tighter. No, Dad, I'm fine, really. I just actually got a rule, a big one. Soon I will bring you and Mom here. I will buy you a new house. You won't have to work so hard. There was a silence on the other end. Then his mother soft laughed. Our son, always dreaming of so big. We just want to say and happy Tom that yes, don't force yourself too much, remember? This family is your home always. Tom was trembling. I know, I love you both. Please, just wait a little longer. I will make you proud. When the call ended, Tom sat frozen, staring at the dark screen. His reaction in the glass looked nothing like a man he had just promised it to be. His chest touched. The weight of the lies, his desperation, his parents' faith in him. Slowly, he lifted his eyes to Kai, who had been watching him with an unreadable expression the entire time. Kai tilted his head, his eyes narrowing slightly as if he had just pieced everything together. So, you lied to your parents? Tongues break off. What? Kai smirked faintly, tapping his finger on the table. If you already had a role, you wouldn't be sitting here starving. You wouldn't be eating bread and soup, looking at the paper plate. You are desperate, Tom, and desperation makes people honest. Eventually, Tom dropped his gaze, shade curling in his stomach like a blade. Kai, leaning closer, his tone softer but sharper. Think about my offer. One night with me, and you will have the big opportunity. You just promised your parents a little role, money, fame, a chance to buy them a new house. You talking about? The cafe's nurse seemed to fade into silence. Tong's face rose and fell quickly, his fingers clutching his knees beneath the table. His parents' voice echoes in his mind. Come back home. You don't have to stop. We can take care of our child. Just be safe down. He wanted to tell Kyle no. He wanted to keep his pride, to walk away. But then he remembered his father's fond hands, his mother's tired eyes. He remembered the promise he had just promised. Soon I'll bring you here. I will buy you new house. You won't have to work so hard anymore. His throat tightened slowly. He tilted his eyes, mid Kai's piercing gaze. Tongue was barely above a whisper. Yes. Kai smiled, prayed slowly, like a predator satisfied with the cash. Good boy. You won't regret this. But deep inside, Tongue already knew he would. Thong opened his eyes when sunlight hit his bare body, his body itching as he had been broken into pieces. For a second he forgot where he was. Then he remembered the night crashed into him like a wave. On the other side of the room, Kyle stood by the mirror, buttoning his white shirt. The picture of someone who had slept well was ready to for a new day. He didn't glance at Tong even once. When Kai was done adjusting his cufflink, he picked up the card from the dresser. He tossed it onto the bed. The card landed against Thong's bare chest. Kai coldly, come to the company, we will talk there. He shivered into his blazer, straightening his tie, and without so much as a second look, he walked toward the door. Thong's dry lips parted, his voice hoarse. Wait, but Kai didn't stop. The door clicked shut behind him. His footsteps echoing down the hall as if Tong didn't exist. Since violence filled the room, Tong lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, the car pressing against his skin like a brand. Slowly, he forced himself to sit up, his muscles protesting, his body covered with bruises and marks that told the story he didn't want to remember. Dragging himself toward the bathroom, he stood in front of the mirror, revealing him messy, lips swollen, collarbone marked with red and purple stain. He traced his finger across his bruises, his stomach twisting. I looked disgusting. Shame, anger, and self-hatred trailed in him. He had given up his pride for a promise, and Kai's coldness this morning made it clear who he really was to him. Still, he clutched the card in his hand because it was all he had. Tong stood in front of the tall glass building, his hands steady, his grip tightened on the card Kai had tossed on him. Compared to the polished walls and the stream of well-dressed employees walking in, he looked down at the place in his velvet shirt and worn-out sneakers. He looked shaky, breath, and whispered to himself, "You can do this. This is your chance." Clutching his small bag tighter, he pushed it through the glass door. The lobby was massive, marble floor, shining walls decorated with posters of famous actors and dramas. Tom's heart pounded harder. Fundy, my face will be here too. He approached the front desk, bowing politely. Tom, excuse me, I, I am here to meet the managing director. He told me to come. The receptionist, the young woman in a designer dress, gave him a look once more, eyes dragging from the messy hair to his cheap clothes. Her brows arched in disbelief. Do you have an appointment? Tom. No, but he gave me this. He slid the card across the counter with trembling fingers. Receptionist picked it up, glancing at it, then looking back at him with a mock smile. This card? Do you know how many people tried this trick? Claiming they know the MD. A few staff members nearby had already started whispering, looking at Tom. He felt so small. Tom, desperate. No, it's real. He told me to come here. Please, can you just say? Another employee passed by, snickering loudly enough for him to hear. Employee, look at him. He looks like a baker from the street, and he says the MD called him with a shoe. Employee 2. Does our MD meet this kind of people now? Employee 3. Oh my god, his standard has fallen this much that he is now into bakers. Employee 4. Come on guys, look at him and our MD have no match. He must be here because he found the card somewhere, now claiming he knows the MD. Employee 2. Exactly, otherwise, why would a high profile man or call him in a company? Employee 4. We should call the guard, or God knows what he will do with us. Employee 1. What if he is a thief or something like that? Employee 3. Oh, come on. He have passed the security test. But seriously, look at him. What does he think of himself? A rich boy? People started laughing around the lobby, cruel and sharp. Tong's hand curled into fist at his side. His throat tightened. He wanted to shout to tell them it wasn't a lie, but his voice refused to come out. Just then, a familiar voice echoed from behind. Car, smooth and cool. What's going on here? The staff immediately started bowing respectfully. The laughter died instantly. Tong turned it, relieved, his lips parted, ready to thank him, to say, come, you came, but Kai is looking at him as if he is ready to deny that he knows him. Kai, to a receptionist, who is this? The receptionist quickly answers, making a tongue. Sir, this man is claiming you called him here. He even showed me your card. Kai's gaze lingered on Tong for a moment, a flicker of recognition, a faint curl of his lip before he shrugged. I don't know him. The words slammed into Tong's chest like a blade, gas echoing through the lobby, followed by a burst of laughter and sneers. Employer, see, told you, just another desperate wannabe. Receptionist, sir, we will have him removed immediately. Tong stood frozen, the card still in his hand, his vision blurred with unshed tears. He tried to speak, but no words came. Kai adjusted his cufflink casually, then walked away without another glance. The lobby filled with cruel laughter once again. Tong lowered his head, his shoulder trembling, humiliation burning deep into him, his soul. Without another word, he turned and walked out of the building with heavy steps. Tom was so sad that he sat in the bench of the park. The park was quiet and afternoon, a small ice cream cone in his hand. The very last money he had left melted slowly at the edge. He licked it absent-mindedly, his eyes blank, tangled with shame and exhaustion. The seat beside him dipped suddenly. Tong blinked, turning to see a man sitting there, dressed comfortably, not like the polished man in suit he had seen in the company. He was handsome, too handsome, with doughy eyes that softened when he met Tong's, the younger Tong's. The stranger's gaze dropped on the ice cream. Tong noticed it and hesitated before extending his hand with a small, shy smile. Tong, do you want some? The man was surprised. Really? You were sure with me? Tong, shrugging. Why not? It's sweet, Jungkook. Then, yes. He leaned forward slightly and took a small bite from the cone. The action was so casual, it felt like they were old friends. Tong chuckled softly, amused at the stranger, unbothered nature. Jungkook smiling as he leaned back. Thank you, I'm Jungkook, John Jungkook. Tong, Kim Tong. Jungkook nodded, repeating his name under his breath as if memorizing it. Then Tong reached into a small bag he carried, pulled out a piece of bread, and began tossing it toward the pond. The ducks immediately padded closer, quickening happily as they ate. But as they drew near, Jungkook's confident smile faded. He could bet watching them getting closer. Jungkook, why are they coming closer? The ducks croaked. Louder, walking more closer. Jungkook shifted closer to Tong, his arm brushing against his knees before he practically pressed it against his. Tong blinked, then burst out laughing. Tong teasing, are you scared of ducks? Jungkook muttering, sneaking even closer. They are unpredictable. With a smile, Tong let him clench, the man practically hugging his arm like a koala, while Tong continued throwing bread for ducks. How ridiculous! The CEO-looking man, terrified of ducks, made Tong laugh even harder. Tong couldn't laugh. You look so funny right now. Jungkook embarrassed smile turned laughter too, and soon the two of them were laughing together, their voices mingling with the sound of quackling ducks. For the first time in the day, Tong felt a little lighter. Jungkook, wait. Duck started tucking his fan and he got more scared. He grabbed Tong's hand and started running. Tong burst out laughing as Jungkook dragged him across the park, nearly tripping over his feet. Tong, yeah, stop running. They are just ducks. Jungkook, panting, fight as just ducks. They were attacking me, Dong. They wanted my ice cream. They finally stopped near the door of food truck. Shankuk still crunching the tongue hand, lips parting dramatically. Shankuk tugging at Tai's sleeves like a kid. Get me food, please. Something safe. No drugs involved. Tong patted his pocket, pulling them inside out. Show them nothing. I don't have a single phone. You will have to survive without food, John. Shankuk's expression dropped. Then he suddenly smacked and swung an arm around Tong's neck. It's okay. I will feed you. Let's go, bestie. Tong raised a brow. Bestie, since when? Jungkook smirking. Since right now. Congratulations. You have been promoted. Tong rolled his eyes, but followed him. Jungkook confidently ordered 2 portions of tteokbokki and hot dog. Pulling out slick back card from his wallet, Jungkook's jaw dropped, hit the ground. Tong pointing. You have a black card? Jungkook stuttering, avoiding his eyes. It's my dad's. Yeah, totally my dad's. Tong sighed, relieved, pressing his palm together dramatically. Thank God, for a second I thought I was hanging out with some spoiled chaebol kid. Jungkook muttering under his breath. You kind of are. The food truck owner handed them their tray, and Jungkook quickly changed the subject, sliding the tteokbokki toward Tong with a smile. Jungkook, eat well, bestie. Payment is not required. Your ice cream was enough. Tong snorting. You are seriously weird. Jungkook biting onto the food. And ate. You are still here with me? Tong shook his head with a small smile as they sat on the bench together. The memory of Jungkook's dramatic duck shells still making him chuckle. Jungkook was happily blowing on his piece, shakes puffed out before popping it into his mouth. Tong just stared for a moment, quietly amused of how someone so tall and strong looking and cute, so childish in front of the food. A drop of sauce clung stubbornly at the corner of Jungkook's lips. Tong, yeah, you have got some sauce. Jungkook blinking at him, tilting his head in confusion. Sure. Before he could wipe it with his knee, Tong reached forward, thumb brushing softly against the corner of Jungkook's mouth. The touch lasted only a second, but it was enough to make Jungkook chewing slow down, his eyes flickering up to Tai's face. For a moment, neither of them said anything. Tong's heart thumped too loudly in his chest, and Jungkook's gaze lingered a little longer than he should have. The hint of the smile tugging at his lip, and then Jungkook suddenly leaned forward, chopsticks snatching his rice cake from Tong's palm. Jungkook got it. Tong, yeah, that was mine. Jungkook just laughed, stuffing it into his mouth with a shaky sparkle in his eyes. Consider it payback for touching my lips. Tong pouted, half embarrassed, half annoyed, while Jungkook chuckled around his food, clearly enjoying the frustrated look on Tai's face. Evening had fallen, the city light twinkling as Jungkook parked his car roadside. He turned it slightly toward Tong. Jungkook, do you want me to drop you home? For a moment, Tong froze, his fingers tightening around the hem of his shirt. He lowered his gaze, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't have a home. Jungkook's brows knitted together. What do you mean? Tong's throat bobbed as he swallowed, forcing out the truth. I was living in a small apartment, but my landlord kicked me out today. I couldn't pay the rent anymore. The word hit Jungkook harder than he expected. For a second, he just sat there staring at him, shocked, but not pity. His face tightened. If you want, I can give you a place to stay. Tong lifted his head, eyes shimmering with disbelief. But I have nothing to pay you with. He puzzled, hesitated, then whispered with a broken smile. Nothing more than my body. Jungkook's heart cracked, his hand instantly reaching for Tong's, squeezing firmly. Don't ever say that. His voice trembled with anger and sadness. Someone must have made you feel like that before, but I am not the person. You don't have to pay me. Not now, not ever. Tong blinked at him, stunned, and Jungkook continued. My father gifted me an apartment this year. It's just sitting empty. The car he gave me last year is crying in the garage because no one uses it. The furniture is probably howling by now from being untouched. A soft laugh escaped him, but his eyes remained serious. If you want, you can use them all, but don't worry about the maintenance. I will handle everything. Tom lay smarted in shock. He shook his head quickly. No, that's too much. I can't take that much from you. Jacob, nothing is too much. He said firmly, eyes locking with Tom's. When I was starving, he said, you feed me ice cream. When I was drowning in anger, your smile reduced my pain. So, let me do the smallest thing for you. Tears flooded in Tom's eyes. He shook his head again, stubborn. The maintenance will be too high. I don't want to become a burden on you. Jacob leaned closer, wiping away the tears that had begun to spill down Tom's cheek. You are not a burden. You are my best friend now, and I want you to help my best friend. He smiled softly, trying to lighten the moment. Besties, the maintenance would cost more than my two suits, so don't worry. Tom bit his lip, looking at him with a mixture of awe and pain, finally whispering, why are you being so good to me, Jacob? Because I'm your bestie, friend. And now stop crying, or else I will make you do house chores. He burst out laughing when he sees Tom's shocked expression. Don't look cute, I was just kidding, bestie. The elevator door slid open, revealing the penthouse. Tom stepped inside first, his mouth falling open, his wide-eyed eyes wandering across the floor-to-ceiling window, the skyline twinkling like a field of stars. The high ceiling, the elegant furniture, and the marble flooring. Tom, God, this is too much. I can't live alone in this place. He whispered to himself, clutching his bag tighter. In disbelief, Jungkook absent-mindedly without thinking. Then lie with me. Tom froze, slowly turning to him. What? Realizing what he had just said, Jungkook shrugged, playing it cool. I mean, I will visit you often, so you won't feel lonely. Tom pressed his lips together, fiddling with his fingers nervously. That won't be enough. Jungkook tilted his head, studying him. Then, what is it? Tom gazed fell on the floor, his heart racing. He wanted to say the truth, but he can't. Leave it, he won't understand. Jungkook narrowed his eyes, trying to read him. Then a sly smile appeared. Wait, are you perhaps scared of ghosts? Tom's eyes widened instantly, panic flashing in them. No, what are you saying? I'm not scared of ghosts. His stuttering only made Jungkook burst out into laughter. Jungkook, oh my god, you are too cute. Tom's cheeks burning red. He gave Jungkook a weak punch to his chest. Finally, yeah, don't laugh at me. But Jungkook only laughed harder, doubling over. Which made Tom pout. He grabbed the nearest cushion, holding it up threateningly. Keep laughing and I will throw this at you. Jungkook, do it then. He laughed already, backing away. Tom threw the cushion, but Jungkook took it, running across the living room. Tom, yeah, come here. He chased after him, their laughter echoing through the white penthouse. Jungkook ran around the sofa, Tom chasing him. Jungkook runs the balcony, Tom after him. Just as Tom stretched his hand to grab him, Jungkook runs toward the pool area, only for both of them to lose balance. Splash! Water splattered everywhere as they crashed into the pool. Tom thrashing in panic. Tom, Jungkook, I can't. Before he could sing, Jungkook's strong arm wrapped around his waist, pulling him tightly against his chest. Calm down, I have got you. Just breathe, okay? You are safe. Tom's finger gripped Jungkook's shoulder desperately, chest-stabbing. Their faces were inches apart. Droplets of water sliding down Jungkook's jaw. Jungkook's voice softened, eyes locked on him. Jungkook murmuring, you are cute. Heart rushing to Tom's cheeks. His heart pounded violently. He gave Jungkook another big punch against his chest, flustered to respond. Finally, Tom's feet found the pool's surface, and he hurriedly pushed it away, climbing out of the wet clothes. Jungkook leaned against the pool wall, washing it with a smell. The water clung to Taeyong's skin as he scrambled out of the pool, cheeks flushed crimson. His white shirt stuck to him, and he couldn't bring himself to look at Jungkook, who was still in the pool, hair dripping and eyes glued to him. Taeyong pouting, "Don't laugh. It wasn't funny. I almost drowned." Jungkook chuckling, swimming closer to the edge. "Almost, but not really. You had me right there beside Bestie." He smirked, leaning on the edge of the pool. "You looking ridiculously cute, trashing like that." Taeyong's ears turned red as he hugged the cushion he tried to throw earlier. "I wasn't. I was just trying to survive." Jungkook tilting his head, smiling. So the brave Taeyong is actually scared of ghosts and water." Taeyong, white puppy eyes stuttering. "I am not scared. You are making things up." Jungkook laughed, echoing through the penthouse. Warm and rich. Taeyong frowned, smacking Jungkook's chest with the cushion before turning to stomp away. But Jungkook cocked his wrist, pulling him just slightly closer. For a split second, the air shifted. Jungkook's wet finger brushed over Taeyong's cheek, wiping off the drop of water that slid down. His eyes lingered lower than they should have, softened now. No trace of earlier teasing. Jungkook, without realizing, "You are really something else." Taeyong froze, his breath itching, their eyes locked. One heartbeat, two, until Taeyong broke the tension by shoving the cushion at Jungkook's chest. Taeyong, blushing furiously. "You are so annoying." Jungkook burst out laughing again. Jungkook opened the door of the guest room. He pointed at the attached bathroom. "You should take shower. You are still wet from earlier. You will catch a cold if you don't." Taeyong hesitated, biting his lip, but finally nodded. Taeyong took a shower. When he stepped out, he found a neatly folded set of clothes already waiting on the bed. An oversized cream sweatshirt and a loose sweatpant. Taeyong's heart gave a little squeeze. He even thought of this. He wore a cloth. The fabric is so soft against hanging a little too big on his frame. The sleeves nearly covered his hand, and the waistband was loose. When he checked the mirror, he almost laughed at how small he looked in them. Just then, Jungkook pushed the door open. "Taeyong, dinner's." But his words died in his throat. His eyes landed on Taeyong, swimming in his oversized cloth, hair wet, skin still flustered from the hot shower. He froze, his eyes skipped wildly. Too cute, way too cute. Before he could even control it, his nose started to bleed. He took a hand to his face, eyes wide. "Taeyong, Jungkook, you're bleeding." Panicking, Taeyong rushed to him, closing the distance. Without thinking, he grabbed Jungkook's wrist, pulling his hand away, and used his sleeves of his cream-colored sweatshirt to dab the blood gently. The touch was soft, trembling. Jungkook could feel Taeyong's warmth so close, their breath mingling. His heart thudded, and he didn't even know if it was from embarrassment or from how near Taeyong was. Realizing how intimate the gesture was, both of them froze. Taeyong pulled his hand back quickly, his cheeks flaming. "Sorry, I panicked." Jungkook cleared his throat, trying to cover up the heat creeping up his own face. "It's fine, just didn't expect you to look like that." Jungkook turned abruptly toward the hallway. "Dinner is ready. Come on, before it gets cold." Taeyong followed quickly, still clutching the edge of his two long sleeves. His heart racing from the strange new closeness they had just shared.